We all heard Carly screaming when you walked into the garage, from the garage into the kitchen on March 19th. How did Carly appear to you when you walked in?
Like I said, my initial thoughts were she was terrified, scared out of her mind. I still to this day don't think she ever even recognized me. Something was wrong there. I don't know what, but something was off.
Carly,
yeah, she was unaliving her mom and trying to unalive you. I'd class that as something off.
Gregg's stepfather, he's Smiley, testifying at her
You don't say.
trial. She also shot him. He survived. And his testimony, incredibly sympathetic to his stepdaughter. Amazingly so. Heath Smiley, Carly Gregg, Ashley Smiley, they all lived together. They were a family, but she's because Carly shot and killed her mother, shot her stepfather. He survived, and he is standing 100% behind her. I want to go back and remind you of the compelling arguments and the dramatic verdict in this case. And a lot of it had to do with the age of this defendant, who was just 14 at the time she shot and killed her mother.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's no doubt that Carly Madison Gregg is the one who killed her mom, Ashley Smiley. There's no doubt that she attempted to kill Heath Smiley when she aimed the gun right at his head and shot and hit him in the shoulder. And there's no doubt that she's the one who hid the camera, thus tampering with evidence in the refrigerator.
Hid a camera in the refrigerator?
And we would ask you that you go back there and you find her guilty of all three, because she was not insane at the time that this happened. She knew exactly what she was doing, and she knew the difference between right and wrong.
We've heard the testimony of Carly's stepfather, who has no reason to defend this child. It's not his biological child. He was very much in love with his wife. They were still in the honeymoon phase. You heard him on that 911 call. That was a man in shock, in grief, and in pain. You heard his testimony about feeling intimidated regarding his testimony in this case. But despite all of that, he has continued to tell the truth consistently from March 19th until his testimony in this courtroom today. And he continues to stand by Carly to this day and support her. And he said, yeah, I've noticed that Carly was experiencing memory lapses in the fall of 2023. It was bizarre. And while she was having a state of psychosis and an episode of acute stress on March 19th, she lost herself in what was the perfect storm. I am asking you for those reasons.
Oh my gosh. Was this Eminem in the 8 Mile? Lose yourself in the music the moment you want it. You bet. Come on. She hid the evidence. You're not in a psychotic break if you try to cover up evidence because you know you don't want to get caught. If you know that you don't want to get caught, you understand that what you're doing is wrong. If you understand what you're doing is wrong, you're not having you might be a psycho that broke, but you're not having a psychotic break. But I'm not a doctor. I'm just live on TikTok and live on YouTube. Hey, what y'all doing?
Oh, he needs some milk.
I need a gin and tonic after listening to this crap. That's her defense attorney too? That is crazy as hell.
To please find Carly Gregg not guilty by reason of insanity and finally quell this storm for Carly and her family.
Quell this storm? What are you saying?
He arrived home, opens the door, and gets shot at. He took the stand. He tells you to this day, that wasn't Carly. The person that was shooting at him was not Carly. It's real important.
Yes, it was. Because he said that it didn't look like her, but it was her. So he said it was her.
He's the last person that's seeing her right there as it's happening. This is the person who knows. This is the person that sees her every day, that knows Carly, and yet he's saying she's shooting at him. If there's anybody that has a reason to, disavow Carly and say, "Hey, look, I don't," she shot me. I don't want to have anything to do. Come on. He's sitting there saying, and he was doing it to his own detriment. And he's saying, that's not her. Something's wrong. That was not her.
The only.
Oh my God. That's their defense? She got life in prison, didn't she? Twice? Plus 10 years for hiding the camera in the fridge? Something was wrong. Yeah, she was trying to take your life and took her mom's life. Of course there's something wrong. What is wrong with people nowadays? That's crazy as hell. Well, she might have been really stressed and just it didn't seem like it was her, like something she would do. Oh, okay. So just she could be, it's like she didn't do it. These people piss me off with this craziness. Really? No. Is that Steph Case Files? Steph Case Files, can I get a thumbs up? Does this stuff ever just irritate the hell out of you as well? And y'all make sure you follow Steph Case Files when she does a thumbs up, because I know she's going to do it too. Y'all give her a follow. This is crazy as hell.
The thing that the defense wants you to do is to have sympathy for the defendant. To believe this story that
there's the thumbs up.
She's made up after she's been arrested.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Carly Madison Gregg, guilty of first-degree murder, guilty of attempted murder, guilty of tampering with evidence. Your sentences will be as follows. As to count one, the jury, having fixed the verdict at life imprisonment, this court will sentence you to life imprisonment. As to count two, you'll be sentenced to life imprisonment. As to count three.
Look at that. She's even shaking her head. Yes. Kimberly, thank you. Thanks for the coffee. Yeah, she's even shaking her head yes, because she knows. She's like, yeah, I got caught. I'm not insane. People are insane. They hear that. They're like, what? She'd be in the freaking the interview room being like, Amazing Grace. Was that one lady that did that? How sweet the sound. There was a lady who did that too. That shit was crazy as hell. Who was that? I don't remember.
You'll be sentenced.
You got life too, didn't she?
10 years to serve.
We saw a lot from Carly Gregg's stepfather, but Carly Gregg's biological
Aries did it too, but there was another one. Jody did it, but there was another one too.
father, Kevin Gregg, spoke with WLBT.
Oh yeah, this is her bio dad. He's like, man, that defense was dumb. That's literally what he says. He just straight out says it. That defense was about as dumb as it gets. Oh damn, I hit the perfect pause too. Vinny looks like he needs some milk of magnesia. Oh, we love you, Vinny. I'll hit play so we can get you out of that unfortunate freeze frame.
TV in Jackson, Mississippi, and discuss
Carly,
her childhood and her
that
trial.
One, Jeff. Yep.
I love Carly.
She hit some notes too when she was in that room. She hitting all kinds of runs. She went, Amazing Grace. She was nailing it. I was like, oh shit, too bad you unalived your boyfriend.
And I would love to have tried to help her the best I could. I kept screaming in my head, why couldn't you just have called me? We had really enjoyed ourselves, and she was a wonderful child, and she was obviously multi-talented, gifted. We loved each other. We loved that girl. That girl knew right from wrong. That girl is not insane. That was a very dumb defense, if you ask me. But I wasn't
that was very dumb.
involved. Nobody ever called me.
All right, so you heard Kevin Gregg say, nobody ever called me. Nobody ever called me in this case. Well, the big news now is that the defense has filed a motion for a new trial. Let me put it up on the screen because it's really interesting. In an unaired portion of his interview, okay, not what was shown on TV, but the unaired portion of the interview, Kevin Gregg disclosed that Carly was placed in equestrian therapy as a young child due to experiencing Auditory hallucinations.
What?
Auditory hallucinations. They say, the defense says Kevin Gregg refused to cooperate in Carly's defense, refused to talk to the state, refused to talk to the mental health professionals evaluating Carly, and refused to come to any pretrial hearings or a single day of Carly's criminal trial.
Oh, hell.
So they're saying this is new evidence. Auditory hallucinations. Meanwhile, Kevin Gregg is saying, no one tried to contact me. Let's bring back in the think tank Al Wunsch, Darnell Crossland, Jennifer Brandt. All right, Darnell, what do you think of this development? They're saying, listen, the father has this new information we didn't know about. He wouldn't cooperate. Now he's saying that she suffered from auditory hallucinations as a child, as a younger child, as a much younger child.
Man.
I mean, she's not that old now, 14. Right. So it's not that far away. I mean, it's a small life. And whenever you—
That is crazy. We all suffer from auditory hallucinations. It was called Puff Daddy's music. Gotcha. Yeah, that dude's crazy as hell. I can burn in hell for that. And this is crazy as hell too.
You have new information that could tend to make the outcome different. The court has an opportunity, an obligation to look into it. And when you have something that shows that she had some mental issues or hallucination, and it matches what the stepfather was saying, I think that's good grounds for the court to look into it and see if, in fact, they can offer a new trial.
Jennifer Brandt, your thoughts about this and the fact that Kevin Gregg is saying this now.
Like, hell no.
He's saying no one called him.
She's already shaking her head no. That lady's like, man, let me get on this mic. I got a hot mic. I'm about to drop the mic.
But the defense is saying he wouldn't cooperate.
Yeah, Vinny, it's crazy. I mean, reading that and hearing that he wouldn't even come to a day of trial, wouldn't support his daughter. I mean, you hear him now talking about her, what a great kid she is and that kind of thing. But where was he all this time? And why didn't he step in? He is her biological father. I mean, what could have gone wrong between the two of them? She's a young child. She still is a young child. So what could be so wrong in this relationship? And that's a question in itself. You know, she obviously had some problems early on. Did he just abandon her? Did he leave her? What was her mental state and her mental health? And should that have been brought into the trial? I think that is all very relevant. And I think it's upsetting to hear that he wasn't, if it's true, that he wasn't even involved.
Al? I think there's a lot of cases where sometimes people don't want to testify, and that our system of justice has some mechanism to bring people to court who don't necessarily want to be in. What is it called?
Subpoena.
Again, what do they call that?
My uncle Nuncio.
Yeah,
he's the one that can get anyone to court anytime. I just go, Nuns, go over there, take care of him, and they show up. It works every time.
And he's a subpoena. So why would the defense just subpoena him? He's not cooperating. Oh, he won't come in and talk to us. Subpoena him, make him testify.
Because I think they were afraid that he was going to say partially what he said, which is that she knows the difference between right and wrong. And then there's the situation with regards to the equine-assisted therapy that he's bringing up, which seems to be for the first time. It seems odd to me that they did not find out about that. But equine-assisted therapy does not necessarily deal with schizophrenia. So maybe they were a little bit concerned that it was, not necessarily a thing that was used for people who are, schizophrenic. I mean, it's used for depression. It's used for overweight. There's a ton of stuff that they use it for. Schizophrenia is not necessarily one of them. But now you've got, throw out everything, go forward on it. I just think that if I was the prosecutor, I'd say exactly what you just said. Why couldn't you get him here? Why? It's not like you didn't know about him. It's not like there was.
All right, Al, before we run out of time, he's chomping at the bit. Go ahead, Darnell. I see you chomping.
Yeah. No, not really. I was just really thinking when it comes to these cases, the defense attorneys always want to know who's on their side. And it seemed like there was so many unanswered questions about this father. And as Jennifer alluded to, I mean, what type of guy is he? He seemed like a wild card. He's not there to support them. And like Al said, he's saying that she's not crazy. So we simply tend to leave those people outside of the courtroom if we don't know where they're going to go. And I think that's what happened.
Yeah.
Okay, and save them for the motion for a new trial. There you go. All right, think tank staying with us. When we come back, that's not the only reason the defense says they deserve a new trial. We'll break it all down.
Oh, hell. There's more reasons?
March 12th, Tuesday, she writes, I think I had a psychotic break earlier. The whole ordeal was quite silly. I actually spoke with one of the voices in my head. Well, I didn't hear them until earlier today, but I only do then. My particular friend and I were practically screaming, bloodthirstily and ravenously. Thank God, physical confrontation was not, and I think it's fruitively, possible. I sound crazy.
That's straight from Carly Gregg's journal, read by Dr. Andrew Clark during the course of her case. So her defense now, after the conviction and, life in prison, making a motion for a new trial in front of the same judge who heard this case. They also have some complaints about the jury and the jurors' ages. Take a look at this one. I've never seen this one before.
What?
Carly was not tried by a jury of her peers. Carly was 15 years old when her trial commenced on September 16th, 2024.
What are they going to bring in 14 and 15-year-olds, you weirdo? That is Cheryl. Thank you. 2 left. Her defense is trying to say they didn't have a jury of her peers because she was 15 years old at the time. Man, you are crazy as hell. This is crazy.
Mississippi believes that only a person 21 or older possesses the maturity necessary to make decisions about the life of another. You've got to be 21, apparently, to serve on the jury down there. However, Mississippi also holds that a 14/15-year-old possesses the maturity necessary to make decisions about plea offers, understand the nature of the alleged offenses, comprehend the nature of the charges against them, effectively participate in their defense at trial. These two fundamentally opposing legal standards cannot be rectified. And, they've got a point, little common sense. You got to be 21 to be on a jury, but you could be 14 and tried by a jury. Let's bring back in our think tank, Al. Once Darnell Cross and Jennifer Brandt. I don't think they're going to win, but it's an interesting argument, Jennifer.
It is an interesting argument, but I agree. I don't think they're going to win. I mean, she's old enough to be tried in this court. She committed.
Interesting argument is a really nice way of saying it's crazy as hell. Vinny, you got to get me on one of these panels. I'll pop in and tell it straight up like it is. That is crazy as hell. Crazy as hell. Crazy as hell. Crazy as hell. No. Get with it. Get with it.
Allegedly committed an act that is
right. Not allegedly. She's convicted. The Fuzzy Pack, thank you for the $2 super chat. You guys are sweet. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the coffees over here on TikTok too, y'all. We got 2 left. Thank you for the support. Hit the follow button if you're new here. Tap the subscribe button if you're new on YouTube, and hit the thumbs up, YouTube. We got 23 likes to go.
Quite dangerous and quite adult, not something that a child would normally do. And I think she should be judged by her peers. These are her peers. These are other people in the community who are also being affected.
Ding, 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 ding. That part.
Affected by this alleged crime. So
yes, right. Thank you.
One left. I don't see her being judged by a bunch of 14-year-olds. I don't think that.
Yeah, this isn't a slumber party. It's freaking court for taking your mother's life and attempting to take your stepfather's. You crazy as hell for that. Crazy as hell. Wendy, thank you. We hit it. You guys are the best.
Is going to happen. So I don't think she's going to win on that one. But I agree. It is an interesting argument. And, I just never heard it before, but I think it's a good one. It's one that you should throw in with the rest of them, but not a winner, I would say.
All right. They have another one regarding something. So This is regarding the testimony of Carly's therapist. Here's from the motion again. The testimony was of no importance in the facts in Carly's case and was elicited for the sole purpose of prejudicing the jury. This fact is highlighted by the state's erroneous belief that Mrs. Kirk, who was the therapist, was concerned about Carly reading this book as the title was underlined in her records, without realizing that it was simply grammatically proper to underline the titles of novels. Let's take a look at how that went down.
What the hell are they talking about now? Desiree, thank you. Howdy, ma'am. Kimberly, thank you. Howdy, ma'am.
The entire book, very difficult book, about a psychopath who lives in Russia, and he is poor. He is a student. He is very intelligent, and he comes on hard times, impoverished, and he has this obsession with obsessive thinking of basically planning to murder a woman with a hatchet.
What in the hell?
And Rebecca, in your note, you'd actually underlined the fact that she was reading that book.
Well, that was just for grammar, because you're supposed to underline the title of a book if you can't italicize it.
Okay.
All right, Al. It seemed the state was trying to make a big deal that the therapist
Whoa, Desiree, thank you.
was underlining the name of the book, Crime and Punishment, when, like, that's how you grammatically do it.
That's how you grammatically do it. That is a ridiculous point by the state with regards to this. I mean, first of all, the book Crime and Punishment is a 500-page book. It is not necessarily a very difficult book, but it's not necessarily geared towards a 14-year-old or 15-year-old. It's a story of Raskolnikov, who is an impoverished student who ends up, murdering an old woman. Okay, and he's talking about everything that went on with regards to his intelligence, and he couldn't understand why he was, impoverished, and all these other people with less intelligence were doing better than him, and things along those lines. To say that underlining meant that was her concern is absolutely just ridiculous.
Right, so we'll give a point to the defense there, and if you need a copy of the book, I think it's on the second shelf behind Al. Now,
right over here.
Exactly.
Signed
by.
Jeez.
Exactly. Okay, let's get to one more of these reasons that they are making a motion for a new trial. It's about the testimony of Dr. Jason Pickett. Dr. Pickett's testimony regarding his undiagnosis of Kevin Gregg, that's the biological father, was improper, unethical, and highly prejudicial at trial. Pursuant to the ethical guidelines established by APA, the Goldwater Rule prohibits and enjoins psychiatrists from offering opinions about the mental health of someone they have not personally examined. Here's the testimony of Dr. Jason Pickett regarding Carly and her biological father.
To me, it made the diagnosis very skeptical of Mr. Gregg to have bipolar disorder. The very limited and sparse records from Dr. Hardy made it very questionable. My opinion is that, based on reading his report, that some of his opinion of diagnosing Carly with bipolar disorder was that he took Dr. Hardy's notes for face value. And when I read Dr. Hardy's records, importantly, he never said, Kevin has bipolar disorder, and I reviewed the records from his recent hospitalization, or he has bipolar disorder because he met these criteria. He essentially just says he has bipolar disorder and he used to drink and maybe do a little bit of drugs, but doesn't do any of that now. And so I really, only having 3 visits for 1 hour with no collateral records, minimizing his substance abuse, and then prescribing him the controlled substances he did, I just wonder, did he have all the facts? And
oh, hell.
If Kevin doesn't legitimately have bipolar disorder, well, then Carly, it's a lot less likely that she would.
Okay, Darnell,
oh, hell. Is it freezing again, y'all? TikTok, can you see me?
Defense have a point here.
If it is, come over to YouTube. The Mystery Project on YouTube. You guys can see it. YouTube's been fine all night. Come on over, y'all.
Here, and basically what they're saying is that this expert for the state did not examine Carly's father, so cannot come to a conclusion that he's not bipolar. And his conclusion that it's less likely that Carly is not bipolar because her father's not bipolar is unethical. I mean, it's a subtle thing, but is this a big deal?
It's heavy. It's a mounting thing, right? So you have to put everything before the court, and definitely before the appellate court. So they're basically saying he can't opine about this because he's not qualified, and the unethical word is huge. So it's unethical for him to do so. So therefore, the judge has to now take away everything he said and act like it didn't happen. And not even that. Not that it didn't happen, but they have to conclude that that went improperly before the jury, and now it may have swayed the jury. So now we need to give this case to a jury that gets proper information, ethical information, and that's what's happening. I think they're right on all fours with that. You have to put it in because it's a building, a little this, little that, and then hopefully you get the new trial.
We shall see. Great job as always, Al Wunsch, Darnell Crossland, Jennifer Brandt.
Oh, hail.